Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there friends, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Today we come to the end of the first stanza and the beginning of the second, and so we're going to have hope and famine in these two verses, 5 and 6. So today we'll begin with hope. And we'll conclude that first stanza. So the first stanza began in 1. Famine has struck the soul of the psalmist. We all understand that because we've all had that happen to us. That is compounded by persecution. The men that he went with into the temple of God were the ones saying to him, well, where is your God? So that hurts. That just makes things worse. And then today we find hope. This is what he says. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted in me? Hope thou in God, for I shall yet praise him for the help of his countenance. And then verse 6, O my God, my soul is cast down within me. Therefore I will remember thee from the land of Jordan and of the Hermonites, from the hill Mizar. So we begin with verse 5, which is our verse of hope. Another feature that I don't think I've mentioned this yet in this week, another feature of this psalm is how many questions are being asked here. We have a question asked in verse 1, in verse 3 by the men who are persecuting him, in verse 5 by the psalmist himself, again in verse 9, and in verse 10, and in verse 11. So it just it's a hit parade of questions. It's when, where, and why. We just get that over and over again. And of course, that's typical, isn't it, when we are in a famine state. When we're in a famine condition spiritually, what are we doing? We're asking questions. Where in the world is God? Why do I feel this way? Why am I having such a hard time in my prayer life? Why am I having such a hard time in my daily walk? Why is this so difficult all of a sudden? Why do I feel so dry inside? We're asking all those questions. And so it's perfectly wonderful that the psalmist uses questions to convey to us these stanzas, this psalm. It's part of the energy which drives this psalm are the questions. And so here in verse 5, he says, why are you cast down, O my soul? Isn't that wonderful? So he's talking to himself here. Why are you cast down, O my soul? Why are you disquieted within me? As if the soul is a separate entity and he can just talk to it like that. Which I guess in a way you can. You're trying to cheer yourself. You're trying to, encourage yourself in God. But then he says this, hope thou in God. Now in the King James, there's a semicolon there. So there's a break in the text right there. There's a accent that breaks the text right there. Hope thou in God. So after the question comes the answer. Hope thou in God. Why are you disquieted? Hope thou in God. Here's your answer, O soul. For I shall yet praise him for the help of his countenance. So he's looking for the Lord to shine his face, make his countenance revealed to him again. He's saying it's going to pass. This is all going to be over. I'm just going to hope in him, and it's going to turn around, and I will yet praise him. So hope is the remedy for this kind of depression of the soul, this famine in the soul, and even the persecution that comes along with it. It makes it so much worse. Hope thou in God. And then in verse 6, we start the second stanza, which begins the same way, famine. Oh my God, my soul is cast down within me. Now he just asked the question, why are you cast down? But then he says in this prayer, O God, my soul is cast down within me. Therefore I will remember thee from the land of Jordan and of the Hermonites, from the hill Mizar. So now we understand that the famine is not only a famine of thirst, but it's a famine of distance. He's not in Jerusalem. He's not on the Holy Mount. He's on some other mountain. He's in the land of the Hermonites. He's on the hill of Mizar, which is one of the peaks there in the Hermon Range. He's in the land of Jordan. He's not close to the place where he wants to be. He's not close to the place where he can worship the Lord. He's far off now. So if the famine becomes an issue of distance. If you'll join me tomorrow, we'll look at the persecution here, but it's really not persecution. It's chastisement of the Lord, and we'll look at that tomorrow. So join me then here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.